And philosophically, I think we're aligned in a lot of different areas. I actually made some notes to make sure that I could dig down on some of the stuff that was on my mind. But the biggest thing for me that I wanted to ask you tonight, and I'm starting with a question I would normally end with. But when you look at all the information out there, all the information on diet, exercise, what people are proposing that people should do to be in optimum health, if you could only give one piece of advice, in other words, you only get to say one thing tonight before everybody left, what would be the number one piece of advice that you'd give folks so they could go out and apply it and actually improve their physical and mental health?
It's getting me the heavy one first. Okay, so I'm going to say one thing, and you probably already know it, but you might not already do it. It's called going to bed on time. Because when you sleep well, you have the energy, motivation, decision-making, the emotional resilience to do whatever you want to do in each day. I don't know about you, but everybody feel like they can do anything when they have a good night's sleep? Yeah. So how do we replicate those days? Because if you can replicate a good day, you can replicate a good week, and you replicate a good week, you got months, years, and you got a great life. So we live in a culture of sacrificed sleep for financial gain, for social media, for Netflix. Do you want to watch another episode? Of course, I do. But I think if you can be disciplined with a wind-down routine, it can transform your life, as it has mine, as it has a lot of our clients, because when we can win the morning, which happens on the night before, we win the day. And as Harry says, we got to play to win, right?
I don't want to be guilty of ageism, but one of the reasons I wanted to really check out is because I was thinking, now believe it or not, a lot of the population in Canada is quite a bit older, the aging population, the baby boomers. And I was thinking, okay, it's one thing to be really fit and ripped in your 30s, but to maintain that into your 60s and 70s and 80s is quite a different journey, a different story. Same fundamental disciplines, I would imagine. But then I looked at your story. Like you were a big dude, and you had some serious addiction issues, which you've been very candid about. And that's a huge wall to climb. Like where did you find the strength to overcome the kind of very low place that you were in your life? Because you're in a very low place, and you've done a complete turnaround. Like how did you find the strength to do that?
You know what? Pain is often an amazing motivator. Your pain of, I didn't say the restaurants weren't for you, but that was enough pain to change.
The restaurants weren't for me. Is Joe still here?
But the reality is I always say you got to use what you've got. So if you got a lot of pain, use it. If you got a lot of motivation, use it. Whatever fuel source is available to you, you got to use. So I made myself sick through lifestyle choices. I was a pretty avid competitive athlete in high school. And then I went to university, and sports kind of dropped, but the bottle got picked up, and I started using cocaine, MDMA, and all of the next thing I know, into third year, I'm 40 pounds up, I'm 202 pounds, my tennis weight was 158, and I have a panic and depression disorder. The doctor I saw at Ottawa U University said that I might have done permanent damage to my brain. And so at that point I was like, man, I'm a liability to my parents. I'm 23 years old. I'm supposed to be in my prime. I feel like shit. I look like shit. Like, this isn't how I'm supposed to live life. So I took matters into my own hand, and we didn't have YouTube, Andrew Huberman, Attia. I didn't have access to any of these guys. So I started looking into Charles Poliquin, if anyone knows him. Paul Chek, he talks about the 4 doctors. I know you're smiling, so you remember. And I got on their newsletter. This is how I absorbed information. And I understood that it was through sleep, recovery, sunlight, exercise. I was like, okay, I can fix my body and my brain through these health practices. And it doesn't have to be so science-based and so complicated. If I just commit to these things of having good relationships, having a really good social network, because I can tell you the one that I had in Ottawa, they were a lot of fun, but I probably would have ended up in a dark place if I had continued to hang out with them. So relationships, exercise, regular exercise, finding mentors and coaches. I reached out for help, and luckily I'm in a position now where I can do the same. And that was kind of how Emperform was born. I was like, people don't need a training program. They need lifestyle transformation. They need the right habits, mindset, and belief system. You know what the most powerful thing someone can ever do to you is put new beliefs on you that you didn't know what was possible. And I had someone do that for me. So hopefully in today's discussion, we can answer some of your questions and you can leave with potentially new beliefs and tactics so you can start to live a better life. Not to say your life's great right now, but we always want to hunt to get better, right?
No, and again, I'm kind of going to go right into a question that's pretty obvious based on what you said. We're in the Live Real factory tonight, and my confession to you is I really enjoy red wine, and thank you. But it really does boil down to, and I've seen this over again, it's a fact. I mean, alcohol is a poison. It's not good for your body. It doesn't have any benefits whatsoever physiologically for the human body. I would argue it maybe helps you relax. That might help a little bit if you're under some stress. But at the end of the day, is there a way of having optimum fitness and integrating in a balanced way some what I would call adult treats without completely undermining the process? Because I think a lot of people are out there today saying, listen, you can't, if you're serious, you can't do this and you can't do that. What is your stance on that, or what's your experience on that based on the people that you've helped achieve fitness?
So alcohol is absorbed by your body by something, ethanol. That's what alcohol is. And it's converted into acetaldehyde. And that is very dangerous for the human body. You being a little bit buzzed, maybe some people are a little buzzed right now, that's your brain dealing with poison. Well, let's just call a spade a spade. I like red wine too.
Welcome to the Live Real factory, everybody. The bar is still open.
I like red wine and I like IPAs. And obviously I had a problem with alcohol. And so my advice is that if there's anything in your life that you can't control, it can't live in your life. I lost my cousin to drugs and alcohol. He was about a 40 of vodka deep. He couldn't control his demons, was addicted to opiates. He was actually in real estate, doing so well. He had a $500,000 house in Oakville at 25, drove an Audi S5. On paper, this guy was like my hero, 6 years older than me, but he couldn't control his things. And maybe there's some things you can't control, whether it's late night snacking, whether it's alcohol, you go out with the boys or the girls on your trips, golf trips, whatever, and you can't hold back. I think we're looking at some behavior things that need to change. But if you can come back from work on a Friday night and with your loved one, split a bottle of wine, and that adds quality of life to your life, do it. I think everyone needs to run their own race and figure out how to live, what moderation means to them. But I'll say one more thing. If alcohol leads to poor behaviors, why do people cheat on their spouses? Why do people drive drunk? They make poor decisions. They also overeat, order pizza, all that kind of stuff.
Yes, you can, as much as you can eat.
In excess, I'm
all of a sudden feeling guilty up here, but go ahead.
We're supposed to inspire these people, so next question.
No, but it really does boil down to guardrails. Let's be honest. I mean, it's yin and yang. You got to, as Marcus said, you have to run your race. I would imagine though, like mindset is huge. Mindset is baked in. A third of it comes from our parents, which nothing you can do. Then there's teachers in high school and universities and media, and it's baked in. You can't unbake a cake. So when you have somebody that is not used to working out, not used to being fit, maybe doesn't feel worthy of being fit, maybe has a low self-esteem, how does somebody overcome that to get going? Because it's very intimidating. It's very intimidating to go into a gym or to start a program or to get themselves in a position where they're uncomfortable or in uncomfortable territory. How do you deal with that? How do you help clients get over that hurdle and get started and start to build self-esteem to feel, hey, I can do this too. This is for me as much as it is for anybody else. How does somebody get there?
You know what? Role models are really important, is finding someone that you want to model. I know you're a role model and mentor to a lot of people, and people aspire to have similar accomplishments. If I can just do something, It can be yoga, it can be walks in the park, it can be anything. Just get outside, just do something. It doesn't have to be weight training. Is weight training a significant part of longevity and being strong and capable and, you know, slowing down sarcopenia and losing a lot of muscle mass? Yes. But if you can only commit to going for, like, get a dog, you know, like, it's super easy to get outside and go for walks. And that's one of the most healthy things that you can start to do. It doesn't have to be these intense drop sets, supersets, all this type of stuff. Your first month of coaching is free. It's breathe, walk, and meditate. You can just do those 3 things for 30 days. Your life and body will start to transform.
Now, diet's also a big part, and we live in a society where a lot of stress. Frankly, organic, healthy food is very, very expensive, and people get in these yo-yo diets. And again, there's information. The Mediterranean diet's best. Only eat meat. There's somebody out there that's only eating meat and salt. There's somebody else that's 100% vegan. Again, very, very confusing. How big a factor, how important is diet, and is there a specific laneway that you've found with your clients and in your life that is easy to follow, especially if you're out on the road or you're busy, to help you accomplish your health and fitness goals?
I don't think there's a one-way play for everyone, because, as you said, everybody comes up with different upbringing. Their parents fed them perhaps differently. There's different cultural meaning to food. I would approach nutrition as what's got to work for a lifetime. For me, what works for a lifetime is 90% of the time I eat what our ancestors ate. Fresh fruit, good vegetables, meat, seafood. Vancouver is very amazing for that, because I have a local butcher that's I love to support. It's not that expensive, and it's super high quality. That's how I roll. And some of our clients who are busy professionals, you know, we might have to do some more advanced nutrition like intermittent fasting, because they don't have time to eat breakfast in the morning. That's okay. That works for their lifestyle. When we look at nutrition, first of all, if there's trigger foods, we need to get rid of those as much as possible. Anybody like peanut butter? I love peanut butter. And if there's a tub of peanut butter in my house, I'm going to have a lot of it. And so peanut butter doesn't live in my house. Okay? I really like ice cream. Ice cream doesn't live in my house. If I want ice cream and I want to go walk with my dad because he also likes ice cream, we'll go get ice cream. So first rule of nutrition, if it's in the house, someone's going to eat it, and it's probably going to be you. So create an environment for success. I know some of you are laughing because you're thinking about tonight. You know, the snack cupboard comes out, or even the fridge open. It's those fancy fridges that keep beeping at you because you're snacking on the thing. You know, you're laughing because it's true. I get there too.
Yeah, but it is tempting. And especially if you notice, if you have some friends over, and let's say you have a couple of glasses of wine, all of a sudden the bag of chips opens up a lot quicker than it normally does. And if they're there, that's something that you're going to go to right away. Now, one of the things I want to say, it's obvious, to state the obvious. We all want to feel good, right? We want to feel good. Many of us remember those times where we've had pain, herniated discs, broken leg, pulled muscle. It's not fun. We all want to feel good. We all want to age well. And something that I heard that I wanted your opinion on, Marcus, is this. One of the ways to get motivated to get in the gym or to do the things that are designed to help you age well is this. A lot of us here have RSPs, or we're planning for our financial future, right? In other words, you don't want to be a bag lady when you're 65. You don't want to be living in your parents' basement. You don't want to be, downsizing in terms of the lifestyle that you want. Well, when it comes to aging, well, my understanding with the human body is you almost look at going to the gym as making a deposit in your physical RSPs. When you go in that gym and you make a deposit in your VO2 max, that's VO2 max that you can draw on when you're 50, 60, 70 years old. Muscle mass, bone density. In other words, every time you do it, you're making a deposit and stacking the odds in your favor so that aging is more like this as opposed to what it usually is, which is 60 to 90, you're going down a hill. Is that an accurate way to look at going in the gym and building up those extra things to age well?
I like your seesaw image, right? So if I'm trying to weigh as much on this side so my quality of life improves as I age, that's what I'm going to do. From a longevity standpoint, you're right. The two greatest contributors to reducing all-cause mortality are having a really high cardiovascular system, which is defined as VO2 max, and having really good relative strength. Okay, so relative strength is, for my weight, how strong am I? Am I able to pull myself up for a pull-up? Am I able to squat my body weight? Right? If we're looking at aging well and being 60, 70, 80 and still being useful and strong and a contributor to your community and your family and stuff like that, it means that 50 or so, you probably need to be a savage to be a weapon when you're 80. That's just the truth. And my grandmother's 101 years old, and she always watched her figure. She swam every single day. She always went to the weight classes, and she just has a lust for life and has deep relationships. Now she's got some genetics, but she's also lost 2 of her kids to lifestyle, which is probably the hardest thing a parent will ever have to do. So if we can learn anything from my grandma, is that you gotta just keep it moving, control what you can control, and make those daily deposits. I think it's a gift to be here, and going to an air-conditioned gym and being around some motivating people that have a similar mission to you isn't that hard. It isn't. Right? We talked about mindset today. You know, baling 200 years ago, being in the fields, baling hay all day, that's hard. Going to the gym for 5% of your day to feel better about yourself, improve your longevity, and be more confident, it's just recalibrating what hard is.
Okay, there's some people sitting out there now, and I've heard this from a few people. Is it ever too late? Is it ever too late to start lifting weights? There's some people get their mind, I've left myself go too long. I've got too many issues that I have to work around. It's not going to do me much good to start now. What's your comments on that?
I would say every decade is going to get a little more challenging. So as a 20-year-old, I don't know if anyone felt this way, you could throw the kitchen sink at your body, drink, eat whatever, and it just adapted. So health, my definition, is your resilience to disease. And so as you age, what happens is you just become less resilient. And you probably feel that in your joints and all that kind of stuff. That's the process of aging. So be it. Shitty. I would say in your 30s, it's going to be a little more challenging. 40s, 50s, every decade's going to get a little more challenging. It's never too late. I'm going to tell a story about one of he's the top rider in the Masters of cycling. He's a pro cyclist. He smoked until he was, I think, 53. And now he's 88. He's the top cyclist. And he has the metabolic health of a 35-year-old. Okay? So just by committing to a structured program, being diligent with your daily actions, and he was in enough pain, right, that he had to change, just like I was. And unfortunately, we're coming back to this point of pain. But I would say, like, why can't your 70s, 80s be your best years, right?
Yes. Why not?
Is that the first thing you've liked what I've said today?
No, I'm hanging on to every
okay,
word.
cool.
No, don't get me wrong.
Okay, more old compliments. Okay.
No, that's ageism. We have this on camera. That's ageism. All right. One of the things I loved about, and I'm not promoting this as like the gospel, but one of the things I liked about Peter's book was he talked about health span as opposed to lifespan. Like who wants to be around to 100 if you're just hooked up to tubes, lying, staring at the ceiling and being a burden to everybody? That's not really what we want to enjoy our lives. And it's called functional health. In other words, one of the things that really got me in the book, because, I think we all have egos and we all have, a certain amount of self-esteem that we're trying to protect. And one of the things he said in the book, he says, when I'm going down to Florida with my spouse, I don't want to have to ask the 35-year-old to lift up my wife's suitcase and put it up, but I want to do it. Or if I go to see my grandchildren, I want to be able to bend over and pick them up. Or if we go on a walk, I don't want people to have to call an ambulance halfway through to get me oxygen so I can get back for the luncheon. So it's about being able to truly live and have health span. And he gives a lot of advice in the book, as you know, Marcus, about making sure that you can stack the odds in your favor for health span. And my understanding with the training you do, that's one of the things that you work towards with your clients is to get out there and be able to perform at a high level outside the gym.
Yeah. We call it the marginal decade. And basically, the last 10 years of your life, if you, let's say you want to live to 90, it's a good life. So between my 80s and 90s, what are the activities I want to do on my own? Okay, I want to be able to grocery shop. I want to be able to lift my grandkids. I want to be able to golf. And you can make a short list of all the things you want to do. And then, okay, so what do we have to do in the gym to get there? And so that's planning for your physical capacity. And we know when physical capacity goes down, what also goes down? Quality of life. I think we can always, everybody's planning for tomorrow, right? Everyone's thinking, especially in today's day and age, no one's present, everybody's just thinking about tomorrow. But I think the most important thing that you can think about is how your actions today, like how can I be better tomorrow and make my life easier? I was literally thinking, I was doing intervals today and it sucked. And my legs were burning, my lungs were burning. And my motivation was EDM music, 1. 2, this is better than having a heart attack at 50. And I know it's dark, but it's just the truth. I really believe that you have, your genetics are, what load the gun, and your lifestyle habits pull the trigger. Obviously, I had some health issues in my 20s, but I'm 33 years old, and I got my health markers, my metabolic markers checked like 2 weeks ago. I do every 6 months, and I have the metabolic health of an 18-year-old. And so that's just what we coach in our lifestyle habits, and the things we're talking about today just execute at a really high level. It's not rocket science. But if you can imagine yourself like on the rocking chair, 85 years old, hanging out, loving life, maybe having a glass of wine, maybe having some pizza, and
Opening another restaurant, maybe.
yeah,
Having plans.
opening number 7. What do you want your life to look like? Obviously, you guys all are aspirational business owners, or you want the most out of life. But what have you accomplished with your body? What are you able to do, and what are you not able to do? Because I don't want to not be able to do anything. I live near Whistler. I see some guys on the lifts. They're 95 years old and they're still skiing. It's like, what? Yeah, and that's important to me.
One of the words that scares a lot of people is Alzheimer's, dementia. I've got some friends, unfortunately, that are dealing with it with their folks. They say with Alzheimer's, you kind of lose them twice. You lose them mentally, then lose physically. It's a dreadful, dreadful disease. And one of the things, again, with respect to exercise that I found fascinating is, how they're promoting Lumosity and all the crossword puzzles and all that. The number one way to stave off any type of dementia, Alzheimer's, is exercise. The brain is a very, very hungry organ that needs an awful lot of blood. True statement?
True.
Yeah. And, if there's something that would, I guess, motivate anybody, because when you look at those decades, let's call it 60 to 90, chapter free, I like to say, it wasn't bad. You want to be able to perform at a high level mentally, obviously, and taking care of your health and protecting your ability to cognitively function is huge. When you think of the elderly people that you train, let's say 60 to 90, do you see a common denominator? And by the way, please get your questions ready. We're going to open it up to questions just in a moment or two. Do you see a common denominator? Or is there different ways to train people 60 to 90? Is there different things you focus on, or is the same fundamentals there? Because again, my understanding is all diseases, if exercise was a pill, it reduces all diseases. I'll probably get this stat wrong, but it's by a huge margin, 50 or 60%. It staves off all of the major diseases. Do you see a certain way of training people as they get into that decade?
No. I'm always trying to train for performance. And we look at our clients' goals long term, like what are their performance goals, what lights them on fire, what do they want to be able to do? And then we look at mastery goals. Mastery goals we talked about is getting to bed on time. These are your keystone habits that are going to yield the greatest results. But they need someone or something to chase. I think one thing that we didn't mention in terms of brain health is sleeping. Okay, so your glymphatic system is what helps drain, basically the detox. It's the dishwasher of your night's rest. So if you wake up and you haven't had enough sleep, you notice you're a little more on edge, a little tougher, you can't really think as clearly. Ideally, every single night, it's like a reset of a beautiful flushing, like a good clean of a dishwasher. Hopefully that's a good analogy. And then exercise, of course, right? So whenever you contract muscles or whenever you push yourself aerobically, your body releases basically a pharmacy of well-being, right? That's why you feel great. That's why your energy improves, your breathing improves. And so if I were to look at someone and lastly, obviously reducing stress. If you're chronically stressed, I mean, having, today was a full day. I started at like 6 a.m., 7 a.m., and we'll go till like 10 p.m. This is probably going to be a high threshold day. Plus I trained, I'm a little jet lagged. My body is likely going through a little more stress than it's used to. Okay. So how do I produce more recovery in the coming days? Okay. I might have to add an hour of sleep to my body. I need to avoid sugar and bullshit that's going to stress my body out even more. Probably. Anyways, I don't want to go too much on a tangent, but your number one self-care habit for what you're talking about is exercise. I would focus on sleep like a champion. And by the way, I sucked at sleeping for so long, but now I got my eye mask on. I tape my mouth shut at night. We can talk about that a little bit.
Do you have any videos of that?
Yeah.
A mask, you tape your mouth shut.
Yeah.
Okay. No screen time.
Yep.
Really dark room.
I gotta lie. I watched some like Office before bed.
Oh,
but
wow.
like 30
okay.
minutes before bed.
Hot bath with Epsom salts.
Yeah, with the vanilla candle.
Nice.
Yeah.
Dim lights.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do that. One of the things I wanted to talk about, and my friend Dr. Gail Sauer is here tonight. Gail? She's responsible for taking up 3 cupboards at my house filled with vitamins. No, that's not true. But I do, and Gail and I have had this discussion at length, and she's been great helping me navigate. But there's so much information about vitamins and what vitamins to take and when to take them and which ones contradict this. And it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. Obviously, there's profit associated with these companies that manufacture these. When you look at optimum health, fitness, aging well, brain health, I believe that in that journey, there's a lot of vitamins and supplements, magnesium, lion's mane, there's all sorts of things. How do you know when to use those, and how do you know when they're appropriate for you?
Okay, so let's rewind back. Why do we need supplements? It comes down to the soil of the food we consume. So since soil degradation, agriculture, the quality of the food that we eat is just not nearly as good as it needs to be to get the minerals and vitamins that we need to thrive. So that's why supplements should exist. I'm of the mindset that behavior modification before supplementation. Okay, so show me the big rocks first, show me sleep, consistent exercise, and some hydration and a protein goal, and then let's start to talk about some supplements. It's like getting your yellow belt in karate. You gotta earn it. For supplements, our 4 stacks are, I really like a high quality magnesium. And by the way, I've had supplements companies reach out to me and listen, they're just trying to turn a profit. I'm not going to, pull my pants down for anyone. Like, I really am unsure about the supplement market, but there are some really good brands that put out some really good products with really good missions. If you have any questions about those, just come to me after. I can help out, or obviously we have an expert here. So magnesium, we talked about sleep, we talked about stress management. Your minerals, what you take, are what's going to empower your nervous system, okay? The way your muscles contract, the way your brain thinks. Like, these are sodium, potassium, and magnesium, okay? For vitamins, if you're eating a high nutritious, like you're getting like 3 servings of vegetables a day and a couple servings of fruit, you're probably good. But if you're not, maybe a high quality multi is probably good. Fish oil, I think we're really soft on our omega-3 intake. This is really going to be good for brain health, the way your joints feel, the pliability of your muscle, heart health. It's probably good. I would say zinc as well, and vitamin D. Kalen, did I miss anything? No. Yeah. Vitamin D, because we don't get enough sunshine. Okay, and vitamin D is not a mineral or vitamin; it's in fact a hormone. Okay, which is really important for a number of healthy processes.
And there are blood tests. If you decide to go down this road, there's blood tests you can take regularly to check that, to make sure that your levels are, especially vitamin D and stuff like that, are at the optimum area, right?
So I work with a performance doctor, naturopath, and I get blood work every 6 months, do hormones, mineral check, vitamin check, all that kind of stuff. And I have a more prescriptive look at my life, but again, it's really how far you want to take it. I think like focus on those big rocks, because everybody wants vitamins and supplements because they're easy to take, right? It's simple. But even like, what is it, 51% of hypertension patients don't even take their statin. It's wild. This thing that's going to save them. A family friend of ours, like one of my buddies, his wife, her dad just had a stroke, and what happened? He just didn't refill his statin, and he wasn't taking his pills. So you can understand while we talk about mindset and belief and focusing on that future you, why that's so important, because there's so many reasons not to do this. Oh, it's hard. Oh, I got to go to the cupboard. I got to refill my supplement, whatever. But the reason to do it has to be far greater than all your excuses.
Do you think, again, talking about the older people, again, monitoring things like testosterone is important? And what are your thoughts on supplementing testosterone? As I understand, it can be a significant contributor to, again, aging well and performing at a high level.
Yeah, great question. So I would try and do everything as naturally as possible. If you sleep like crap, your diet's like crap, and you're not exercising well, but you want to go on TRT, like, don't do it. Fix those things naturally, and then test, because you could have really low testosterone, and we fix some lifestyle habits, and you don't have to go on TRT. Because if you go on TRT, which is testosterone replacement therapy, you have to go on it for probably the rest of your life. And I don't know about you, but I don't really want to stick a needle in myself like every 1 week or 2 weeks just to feel good. I'd rather cover my basis first and do it on my own. But then if it comes to TRT, again, I'm not a hormone specialist, but we do work with some labs. It is something you can look at. But yeah, if you are waking up, for my men, if you're waking up without your mana, or you're struggling with energy and you don't have that motivation, and you don't have that sex drive towards your partner or others, might be something you want to look at.
The Live Real Factory, thankfully, is back. We've got an awful lot going on. If you want to see what's going on, Live Real Factory is liverealfactory.com. But I'm so honored, my partners and I, to be partnered with Love Gelato. Paulo is the face of the Live Real Factory, and he's going to come up now and draw the winner for the weekend for two at Inspire Beach Resort. Just a little caveat, there's 2 bedrooms. Paulo stays in the other bedroom while you're there. We apologize, but, he likes to meet new people. Security? You had to buy a ticket by a certain date for your name to be in here. We had promoted that on Instagram. So I sincerely apologize if your name's not in here, and I don't. It could be. It very well could be.
Can you help?
You want to shake it up? Yeah. Okay, Paulo, you pick it out there, brother. You ready? And you yeah, maybe it is.
Okay. And the winner is okay. The winner is Stephen Francis.
Congratulations, Steve. Anyways, you can check out your cabin at InspireBeachResort.com. Again, I want to thank my partners, Sarah Larby, Joe Ferrara, all the Love Gelato boys. I want to thank you guys for coming. Really appreciate your time. Marcus McKay, all the way from Vancouver. And seriously, that was outstanding. It really was. And just such an honor to have you here. Thank you so much. Marcus is going to hang out for a little while. And there's lots of food, lots of drinks. We're going to put on some music. So please hang out, enjoy each other's company. The only thing worthy of being in the vault is time. We really appreciate yours. Thanks so much for being here tonight. Cheers.